Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of The Expendable Show. I'm your host, The Expendable, for those of you who don't know who I am. A little bit of a cold going on, I suppose. If you like the show, like, subscribe, and ding the bell. And let's get down to business today. So, for those of you tuning in for the first time, I did write a book. Once upon a time, I've written two now. This one's The Swiss Effect. It's available at Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and Amazon.com. And it's also available in the ebook variety. So if you don't like physical books and you just like to read off your phone, you can get it on that too. I'm very proud of this book. It's gotten me a lot of attention throughout the globe. So if you're interested in reading about international politics and how things really work, there's your book. Put a lot of time and effort into it. Okay. Now, so I have topics tonight that are going to kind of lead into the next one. So bear with me. So those of you who did not watch my interview with Suchair Balaji's parents, I'm going to kind of go through. I encourage you to watch that because it's for one, it's an important case to me. I've been working with that family for a little while now, trying to get recognition to their son. I believe that was not a suicide as they've labeled it after you look at all the evidence and everything. To me, it's clearly a situation where the medical examiner and the San Francisco Police Department is covering that up. But so I'm going to go through a brief run through of that, and then it's going to run into the next story. So everybody just kind of bear with me for a little bit. So Suchair Balaji is from Cupertino, California, and he was born in 1998. So Cupertino, for those of you who don't know, is in smack dab in the middle of Silicon Valley, where all the tech industry is at. This is the heart of tech industry. He graduated from Cal Berkeley, received a bachelor's in computer science. Cal Berkeley's prestigious. That is the prestigious of West Coast. Like Cal Berkeley and Stanford, those are like the top dogs in education. He worked at OpenAI for 4 years as an artificial intelligence researcher. He was responsible for gathering information and organizing it for the chatbot ChatGPT. For those of you, pretty much everybody knows what that is by now. So in the timeline here, in August of 2024, Suchair left OpenAI. He quit. He had issues with OpenAI's business practices, which Suchair publicly denounced, alleging the company violated U.S. copyright laws in order to develop ChatGPT. To give you an example, so my books right here are available online for purchase. So what they were doing is taking stuff that my books are both copyrighted. I own them. So ChatGPT cannot just go in and take those books and utilize them without paying for them. And that's kind of what was happening, where they were just going online and stealing copyrighted material and using it as a training exercise for ChatGPT and creating this database with it. So that's a big no-no. You're not supposed to do that. If they don't want to honor copyright laws, then they need to get rid of them. But we have to have them because that's what protects people from stealing my book. So also he accused that ChatGPT would render many people and firms commercially unavailable by utilizing their content to make improvements to OpenAI's artificial intelligence system. So there we go, back into the copyright issue using people's works. So Suchair did do an interview with the New York Times, and he stated, if you believe what I believe, you have to just leave the company. And so he had a set principle of things that he believed to be true and right, and OpenAI was violating his principles, so he quit. It caused several lawsuits when Suchair started talking about this, when he started going to these companies and saying what was going on. He had all the evidence. He was the key witness. OpenAI came out and said, well, it's publicly available data, but Suchair had proof that it was not, that they were in fact violating copyright laws. So shortly after leaving OpenAI, Balaji started working on personal projects like a nonprofit that was centered on learning and neurosciences. He was trying to help people. He was trying to create programs that would help, and not this OpenAI system that has unlimited direction and potential. OpenAI is a scary system, and we all need to be pushing our politicians to create a lot of oversight over that, and there needs to be laws put in place, because right now there's very, very little in the way of OpenAI from doing whatever they want. So then in October 23rd of 2024, Balaji posted an essay on his personal website that was titled, "When Does Generative AI Qualify for Fair Use?" So that's where he's challenging OpenAI online. He mathematically analyzed outputs of large language models such as ChatGPT, and he argued that they do not satisfy the 4 factors outlined in the United States Fair Use Law. I looked into that a little bit, and I believe him to be honest and correct on that. Yeah, you can make an AI video, Rob. The problem with AI isn't the fun techie things. The problem with AI is where they want to let it evolve on its own. You look at humanity. We started out as very primitive beings, and we've evolved out. Well, some people are nice people, some people are okay people, and some people are bad people. OpenAI has that potential to evolve the same way. So that's what makes it a dangerous thing. And I don't think, since it's so new and it's rapidly evolving right now, that us as Americans, especially, and humanity in general, we haven't been able to really grasp the seriousness of OpenAI and some of the other OpenAI-like systems that they're trying to put in there. It is dangerous, and it can cause us problems. Like I've said in several other videos, pretty soon, right? Yeah, I kind of see your point there. But like, if we let OpenAI take over, for instance, if we just say, hey, there's no regulations, there's no guardrails for this system, what's to say that in 10 years, when we're all driving electric cars, potentially, that OpenAI doesn't like your opinion on something, so they can shut your car down? They can empty your bank account. OpenAI can start emitting its own justice on people. So that's why it's important to create regulation and laws and guardrails for this system. Otherwise, it's going to go crazy and do whatever it wants to do. We have to remember that these systems are based upon the objectivity of the programmer. So the algorithm is created by the objectivity of the programmer. And so if that person thinks a certain way, it can veer OpenAI to think a certain way. And I was getting to that point there, Rob, where they don't want us to think. They don't want us to think. They want AI to do all the thinking for us, and it's going to regress our intellectual abilities. We're just going to get dependent upon AI to make every decision for us, and I don't trust it. But anyway, so November 26th is the key date here with this Balaji case. So he was found dead in his apartment in San Francisco because his parents hadn't heard from him in a while. And so they called, I think it was Union City Police Department, to do a welfare check. And that's when they found him dead. Yeah, you're right, Rob. They did start that. So they found Balaji dead. So that was the initial report, was that he was found dead. His parents went there. If you watch, they told their story about what happened that day. His parents went there, and they were on scene when they pulled the body out. The San Francisco Police Department ruled no evidence of foul play. The San Francisco medical examiner confirmed that the cause of death is suicide. Sam Altman from OpenAI made a statement that said he was devastated by the news. So they're working on getting a private autopsy right now. But if you look at all their current autopsy reports and the police report, and then go inside and look at how everything unfolded in the apartment, it is obviously not a suicide. This was by far not a suicide. What you see in the apartment does not confirm what is being said. It looks like a murder, and hopefully they can get all the forensics people in there to handle all this. Hey G bro, what's up, man? Yeah, Rob, it is kind of an Epstein situation, without all the extra crazy stuff, but that's basically what happened. Suchir was a happy guy. He didn't have a girlfriend, so he didn't have relationship issues. The guy was getting ready to do his startup business. He was ambitious. He was intelligent and ambitious, happy. He was hanging out with his buddies. He had just got back from a fun trip to Vegas. So it doesn't, forensically in the psychology world, it does not make sense for him to have killed himself. It doesn't add up. That part of it doesn't add up. His behavior doesn't add up to what the outcome was. And Rob, I'd be about sure that they have some kind of hand to play in that. So in the apartment, Suchir's parents, if you watched the show before, they talk about that there was a clear sign of struggle in there. They found blood spatter in several rooms. And then there's a missing pen drive. The apartment was ransacked. So this is what I got from talking to Suchir's mom. So he shot himself in the face, right? So when we look at this from a side angle, the bullet trajectory went down like this. So in order for him to have shot himself, he would have had to hold the gun above his head and tilt it down like this. Who does that? That hurts my hand starts cramping and my forearm cramps. Like who shoots themselves like that? Usually you're going to do this, or you're going to do this, or you're going to, the trajectory doesn't make any sense. So what we saw is he also had a blunt force trauma mark on the back of his head. Tall guy. So here's what we came up with. So he was hit in the back of the head, right? He fell to the ground. There's blood spatter in the bathroom. So he was attacked in the bathroom. He had earbuds in. He was listening to music. So he didn't know it was coming. So then he was on the ground. He crawled, and because there's a blood trail, he crawled, and then he started to get up, and then the shooter was over the top of him and shot down and executed him. And then that's where Suchir ended up laying, and they found him in his own blood. So that's how it happened. He was executed while he was trying to get up. And so hopefully we can get enough attention. We did this week make some progress. We have some of the Indian government is getting involved. Yeah, fell in the shower with the toaster. That's usually how everybody wants to off themselves. So now I saw a post on X when we had this big conversation about this case going on with Suchir's family on Twitter, X, Twitter, whatever. Someone on there who doesn't know any better, obviously, said, why don't you reach out to Congressman Ro Khanna? And I'm going, Ro Khanna? So I'm like, you know what? Just to prove a point, I'm going to audit him. So I did. Just because. And I'm going to tag him on this when I post this video on X. That way he knows that somebody's paying attention to him. So Ro Khanna, he represents the 17th Congressional District of California, which is the northern part of San Jose, Santa Clara, and Cupertino. So he's the Silicon Valley congressman. His major donors, Google, Apple, Stanford, J Street, and Excel partners, all techie stuff, except for Stanford. Obviously, Stanford is a university. he's received $1.6 million in campaign funds from securities and investments. He's received $500,000 from lawyers, $500,000 from electronics companies, $300,000 from internet providers. From just large investors alone, he's received $9.4 million in campaign funds. Small investors, $600,000. So that tells you what kind of circle that Ro Khanna runs with. He runs with big money tech industry people, and the money don't lie. Now, how do we add OpenAI to this? So then I went and I cross-referenced and said, okay, well, let's look and see who OpenAI co-founder and CEO Sam Altman donates to. He's donated to Ro Khanna 3 times. He's also donated to Elizabeth Warren, Gavin Newsom, Barack Obama, Cory Booker, Pete Buttigieg, Joe Biden, every Democrat party in every state, Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, and ironically, the Georgia Federal Elections Commission. So I have my theory on that, but because I live here in Georgia, but he's obviously buying in to every major Democrat in America. Now, so now we've been able to link Sam Altman to Ro Khanna. So to go ask Ro Khanna for help is going to be like trying to pee in the wind. You're just going to pee on yourself. So that's not going to be an answer. And so do you go back to the mayor of San Francisco? No, because David Lurie is the new mayor. David Lurie is the heir to Levi Strauss. David Lurie also accepts donations from Sam Altman. David Lurie also invited Sam Altman to be part of his transition team. So that's not just taking money from a donor. If you're inviting him in, that means you have a good relationship with him. So going to the mayor who oversees every department in the city of San Francisco and in that area that's not gonna work. So and in Cupertino, not getting any help in Cupertino from nobody. This is just not going to work for them. So we've had to go outside. And they've gone to the FBI. The FBI has no interest in doing anything, but that's Joe Biden's FBI. So hopefully with Kash Patel coming up soon, that we'll be able to get some of those answers. So there you go. There's your Ro Khanna financial audit. So now I want to talk about TikTok real quick, because I wanted to look into some things with this whole TikTok thing, because we're getting close to that date. I wanted to find out what's true and what's not true. So TikTok's obviously, a lot of you already know because it's not a big secret. TikTok's owned by a company called ByteDance. ByteDance was founded in 2012 by a guy named Zhang Yiming and Liang Rubo, and there are other investors involved as well. ByteDance also owns a news outlet called Toutiao. I'm never going to be able to say these Chinese words right. Now here's something interesting. So TikTok was incorporated in the Cayman Islands. ByteDance was incorporated in the Cayman Islands. Why would you incorporate something in the Cayman Islands when you are clearly a Chinese company, allegedly? Well, because you can dodge capital gains taxes in Cayman Islands. You can dodge just about every tax there is for rich people. Also, they have a very strict code of secrecy in their investing over there. So you can't just go in there and start digging through money trails. There is no money trail over there. That's where my audit of TikTok goes cold, because everything runs through the Cayman Islands and they do not let you track them, which is smart, I guess, if you're a company trying to hide something, which is where most of Joe Biden's shell companies were at. So TikTok is based in Singapore. So they're started with Chinese people, founded in the Cayman Islands, but headquartered in Singapore. So there's a lot of moving around going on in this. So let's look at Zhang Yiming. He's a former CEO. He is no longer the CEO, but he is also 50. He's over 50% majority voter. So he owns the majority of the company. So he basically is running the company. He is also the richest man in China. In 2018, there was a National Radio and Television Administration that shut down ByteDance's first app called Nihon Duanzi. Nihon. But Zhang ended up coming out and issuing an apology. And this was a Chinese company that did this to him. And he said the app was incommensurate with socialist core values. So he wasn't living up to the socialism that they wanted him to. And he promised that ByteDance would further deepen cooperation with ruling Chinese Communist Party to promote its policies better. So there you go. There's the direct. This is where this guy's mind thinks, which is why TikTok's policies are so strict on there. Well, they're not as strict anymore. They've eased up on it. They've made it easier to win appeals. But up until probably a month and a half ago, TikTok was extremely strict on any content on there. They were quick to pull your stuff down. Zhang donates heavily to mainly Chinese education, but he also donates to our Fannie Mae. So he does have his money dug into us a little bit. Now, investors, this is where I got really interested in this little research project. So their top investor is a company called Susquehanna International Group. So Susquehanna, it claims to be one of the largest proprietary trading groups in the world. It's based in Pennsylvania, Susquehanna. They own $15 billion in shares of ByteDance. The CEO and co-founder is a guy named Jeff Yass. Now, for those of you who know the rich people of the world, Jeff Yass will stick out to you. So Jeff Yass donates heavily to Republican candidates. This dude is red as red can be. He's donated to Greg Abbott, Thomas Massie, Dave McCormick, Mike Johnson, Glenn Youngkin, and the Keystone Renewal PAC. So he's all for that pipeline getting opened up. So this guy is a massive Republican. He does not donate to Democrats at all. So I thought that was interesting. And for me, that may be the link as to really why Trump doesn't want to get rid of TikTok, because there's this major investment from a major Republican investor wedged deep in there. And if he takes control over TikTok and makes him shut it down, Jeff Yass is not going to be a happy camper. No one's going to be happy to lose $15 billion. Well, there's Shauna. So the next investor is Sequoia Capital. So they're a private equity group. Their holdings include Google, Airbnb, Apple, Fair, NVIDIA. I got to scroll back up. OpenAI is in here. Stripe and Zoom. So the CEO of Sequoia is a guy named Greg Golub. So he has no donations, but what he does is he puts all his donations under his wife's name. His wife's name is Lisa something or other. I didn't write it down because it's not relevant. But that's where you find their company's donations. Yep, we need to free the J6 people. 100%, Danny, I agree. But Greg Golub is a huge Joe Biden donor. So what I'm seeing is we have donors, big time donors from both sides of the aisle invested into TikTok. So that tells me TikTok's not going to go nowhere. Also another investor, General Capital, Morgan Stanley's got money in there. Goldman Sachs has money in there. The Bank of China has money in there. the Ventuneers have money in there. Now, G42, I had to look that one up. So G42 is basically it's like a techie company out of the United Arab Emirates. So this is Middle Eastern money that's also involved in here. So their top shareholders for G42 is Sheikh Tahnoon bin Zayed Al Nahyan. I suck at pronouncing foreign names. I'm horrible at it, just so you know. I did my best. I did my best with that one. So he is the UAE National Security Advisor. He is also a member of Abu Dhabi's royal family. So we have big players that are invested into ByteDance and TikTok. This isn't just a little tiny little thing. This is everybody takes a piece of it so that way they can protect it because it's influential. They can I had the wrong accent for sure, Rob. So looking into the shareholders more, there's another Middle Eastern investment company. There's an American investment company called Silver Lake. Microsoft's invested in it. So when you link all these together, it's hard. It's going to be hard for any government to come in here and dismantle TikTok, just mainly because everybody has their hand in it. All the major players in the world have their hand in TikTok. G42 also has very strong ties to China. They're also partnered with Microsoft, Dell, IBM, OpenAI, NVIDIA, Oracle. AstraZeneca, Illumins, and Mercedes. So, I mean, there's other holders to ByteDance, but I'm not going to get into the rest of them because they're not that relevant. I mean, they might be. I just didn't look into them. I know Kohlberg Kravis is a big one, but I don't have time to look into that one. So that's kind of some relevant stuff there. I'm hoping I can draw what this looks like to everyone because I see what it looks like in my little web of money. So you got Ro Khanna, all these people. The common denominator is OpenAI is involved in all of them. So, like I told that family, I was not going to stop until they told me to stop, and I'm not, because I think that the justice for that young man is valid. And so is for the J6 people. They need to let all them people out. That's ridiculous that we still have people with minor misdemeanors and minor felonies, nonviolent felonies, still sitting in jail. It's ridiculous. Don't understand how that's been allowed to happen. Complete violation of due process and excessive sentencing. Okay, so I'm going to talk about these little terrorist attacks that happened. So I'm going to start off with New Orleans. So the body count keeps I'm not sure what the body count is, but I know it keeps climbing every day. So the attack happened on Bourbon Street. The suspect basically drove through a crowd, had an IED in the vehicle. He was from Texas. His name was Shamsuddin Jabbar. I didn't get the accent right again. I know. But he had an ISIS flag on the truck. He had a short shootout with authorities, and then he was killed. So there's enough video out there to show that that's probably kind of accurate. However, one thing that threw me off with this, and I hope everybody else noticed this too. So I think it was reported on CNN, but some independent media person went in some yoga pants after the FBI went through this guy's apartment, right? That's right, Shauna. Pray for all the families in New Orleans. It's a horrible time. But I thought when you're looking at the footage of this news outlet that went through the apartment, to me it screamed, this is a set. Like I felt like they were walking into a set. And now that I'm a famous extra in a rap video, I know what sets look like. But I'm just kidding. But that's what it looked like. And the house was the apartment or whatever, it was too clean. Like if somebody goes through all your stuff, they're not going to put it all back nice and perfectly neat. This place was spotless. And then there was evidence. There was evidence of the crime just left on this like architect's table, just laying there. The FBI didn't even touch it, but it was left there. So, and kind of staged out. So the cameraman could go and go, oh, look at this evidence right here. Well, then there was this big, massive bookcase. And this is the one that really jumped out to me. So the bookcase had all these Islamic books on it. And every book on that shelf looked brand new, just about. And there was a Bible on there too. But on top of the, it was that, Rob, I'm going that route. It's staged. On top of the bookshelf is like a book stand, like a little stand that'll prop your book up and you can open it up, the book to the page you want, and then set it on the stand. You can read from it. That was on top, and it was the Quran. And it was opened up specifically to a page that talked about being a martyr for Allah. So I thought that was way too staged. They had everything set out there so this camera crew could find it, and everything stuck out like a beacon. And I would think that that's not how things worked. I don't buy that footage at all. I do buy that, that this happened, but I think there's more to the story that they don't want to tell us, obviously. And I don't like it. So that's that. And I'm still kind of waiting to see what's all going to transpire out of that. If that was an actual act of terrorism on behalf of ISIS, as what they're suggesting, or if this was something else that they're covering up as an act of terrorism by ISIS. 9/11. I didn't say that. I'm just kidding. Or am I? So now the Vegas Trump Tower incident, that has me very disturbed because there is a lot of information out about that. So obviously, Matt Leibelsberger rents I didn't want to say it, Rob, but that's what I was meaning. So 9/11, not 9/11. You got me thinking about 9/11 now, but that's not what this guy, Matt Leibelsberger, goes, rents a Tesla truck, who everybody and your mom knows that they're made bulletproof and they're made like a tank. This guy knew this. He was, military. I believe he was a Green Beret. I think I read he was a Green Beret. Is that right? Anybody out there know that for sure? I'm pretty sure I read he was a Green Beret. They're saying he was shot, that he shot himself with a Desert Eagle. I'm not sure I would shoot myself with a Desert Eagle. I'm pretty sure there might not be a whole lot of head left if you shoot yourself with a Desert Eagle. But anyway, so Elon Musk came out and he went into the techie part of the truck, and he said, hey, everything adds up. Like there's no malfunctions, there's no fire. This was an explosion from something else inside the vehicle. So that's fine. I can deal with that. So Sean Ryan, he was a CIA, and I believe he was a Navy SEAL as well. Yeah, that's a good point, Rob. His military ID and his regular state ID somehow survived this incineration that incinerated everything except those two documents. Those two cards that are just made out of plastic. Ironically, it's very ironic. Everything just stinks. This whole Las Vegas thing stinks. I don't buy none of it. But all these emails and stuff, Sean Ryan gets a hold of these emails from, I think it was from this guy named Sam Shoemate, who he was an intelligence officer. But I don't know. I just don't know if I believe it. I don't know. This information that was being fed to Sean Ryan about this whole thing was it just was too perfect of a story. It was too perfect. Like the email said, hey, this is all these drones are they're Chinese technology, and it's the biggest threat this country's ever had to our domestic self, which I could buy that. You know, they're all over the East Coast, maybe mapping out targets. He also said that the email also said that the United States also has that technology. But as far as these drones, they cannot be, they're not going to be easily shot down. And they come from subs out in the Atlantic Ocean, Chinese subs. And they've been doing it for years. And they can carry an unlimited payload. So all that information came out to this guy. And then they go into the Iranian missiles that are coming across the border. And then he said they were coming across at legal checkpoints. How are missiles just going to go to a checkpoint, a border checkpoint, and then they're going to just drive them across the border? Come on, man. That dog don't hunt. So basically, I think what they're suggesting is that he shot himself with the Desert Eagle. He was in the car was programmed to drive itself because the Teslas can drive itself. Yeah, catch the drones. Everybody's shooting them down now anyway. I think like 4 or 5 of them is shot down in South Carolina now. But the Teslas can drive itself. He had everything allegedly on a timer. It drove itself in front of Trump Tower. He knew that it wasn't going to, and in the email of his, he even states that I'm not trying to kill people. I'm not trying to be a terrorist. I'm just trying to draw people's attention to these issues and war crimes from Afghanistan. He had all these things in this email that he was trying to draw attention to. I just don't know. Maybe, yeah. Maybe it does work that way. Maybe it doesn't. I'm not quite sure. But I feel like this was a giant psyop, in my opinion, that I believe Sean Ryan is in on it. I think the CIA, I don't think when you're in the CIA, you're never out of the CIA. So I think Sean Ryan was recruited to receive this information and put it on his podcast and make everyone write a test run, make everybody look in this direction while they do something over here. That's usually what happens. Our country does nothing but misdirection stuff all the time. So I don't buy that. I believe the New Orleans one better. There's a lot of conspiracy theories going on out there. I don't know what's true. I don't know if I can depend on the United States government to tell me anything truthful anymore. So I don't, even if they release a statement saying this is what it is, I'm probably not going to believe it. And unfortunately, our liberal friends don't understand that that's the problem. Country is we've lost faith in the truthfulness of our government. We don't believe them. They've lied to us and got caught too many times. Shauna, you know you're on like 25 watch list. Jeez. Anyway, so that's that. Take it or leave it. Hopefully we find out some real information, but I think when you're looking at a psyop that's this in depth, we're not going to know what the real truth is ever. Yeah, and you're right. If you keep telling the same lie over and over and over again, eventually the idiots of the world are just going to take off with it, just like they do with the Russia collusion and all these other stupid things they've thrown out there to try to make Trump look bad. Last thing I'm going to talk about today is Speaker Johnson finally did get voted in as Mike Johnson. For those of you who don't know who it is, Speaker Mike Johnson. Yeah, I'll mention that at the end, Danny. It's funny. But Mike Johnson got confirmed and voted in as the new majority speaker. I can't stand the guy. He lies out his ass all the time. But it's a necessary evil right now, because if we don't have a speaker, then it's going to delay Trump's inauguration, and that's going to be a problem, because we already know the Democrats got something stupid up their sleeve yet. So I'm not start popping the champagne yet. We'll wait until I see Trump spit the last word of his oath out, and then I'll get happy. But Johnson's in there. What we need to do as voters, no matter what side of the fence you're on, you need to pay attention to your politicians, and don't just let them do what they want to do. I was talking a while ago, and I think I was talking to my dad. Never once has any congressional candidate never has a congressional candidate ever sent me a poll. So how do they know, as politicians, what us constituents think if they don't ever ask us our opinions on these issues that they're going to Congress and voting on? They don't. They just say, well, this is what I believe. This is what we're going with. That's not how government works. They should be out in the streets doing town halls saying, what do you guys want? What do you want me to do? Here's the issues that they want to talk to me about. I need to know what the majority of my constituents want me to do. And that's what we're doing. But they don't do it. They don't ask us for our opinions. And that's why when this 1,500 page bill came out, it got shot down immediately, because people blew up the internet with it. And they voiced their opinions on that. Hey, that's not going to be acceptable. And they threw that out. Well, happy birthday, Rob's dad, on your 81st birthday. That's exciting. I hope I can make it that far. It's not looking good, though. I make too many people mad. I think the whole climate change thing. So I don't think it's a bad thing that we take care of the planet, but the planet's not going to blow up tomorrow. And that's just ridiculous. And Biden's very extreme. Okay, I got it, Rob. I'm still young. But Biden's climate change is very extreme, and it's just the policy. They're too much. It's too expensive. We don't have the technology to ever. We don't have the technology yet that can maintain a feasible. I'm trying to do this without saying sustainable. I hate that word because it's a socialist word, but it has to be economically plausible to do it. And you can't just go throw a bunch of windmills out all over the place and then go put a bunch of solar panels everywhere. I just read where they're cutting down like 2,000 acres of trees to put this solar panel system in somewhere in the United States. How does that make sense? Let's cut down 2,000 acres of trees and just fill it full of metal and chemicals from the solar panels and all this, because those things aren't going to last forever. You got to do maintenance on them. They're going to have cells go bad. And, the windmills, they catch on fire all the time. Back home where I'm from, like in Ohio, we've got like 2 counties full of them, including the county I grew up in. You can see nothing but a sea of blinking red lights. There's probably 300 or 400 of them just blinking all at the same time. Bloop, bloop. And they're everywhere. and they catch on fire all the time, and they kill every bird in the area, and they kill all the crops in the area. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous the amount of damage that good clean energy does. It's just like they nailed it. If any of you watch the show Landman with Billy Bob Thornton in it, it's a new series that came out. I watch it, and it 100% validates and confirms that theory that I just gave you, that clean energy is not good for us. Yeah, that's right, Rob. You got to have the cranes come out and all the pumping, all this. There's so much service you have to do to those to keep them working properly. Oil, you got to oil these giant gearboxes up like 200 feet up in the air. How you going to do that? Yeah, my dog even said so. So that there's so much stuff that these average people, these green energy people, aren't even thinking about. And then you get Kathy Hochul in New York, and she's talking about we're going to be the greenest state ever. We're going to get rid of all this stuff, but I'm going to go fly all over in my private jet all over the place. You're right, Rob. Oil's life. We do oil the right way. We don't have dirty oil like that Venezuelan oil or Russian oil. We have liquid gold. Trump is absolutely right. Canada has liquid gold underneath the ground. These are two countries that have prime oil, and it's not the dirtiest oil you could ever think of. So we need to do these things and get it going right. Like, clean energy is not really clean. You're going to end up burning more coal and putting up more nuclear emissions into the atmosphere if we go techie. Yeah, and the solar panels only work if the sun's shining. So if you live in Seattle, Washington, guess what? It rains most of the time and it's cloudy. If you live in London, England, guess what? It's cloudy and rainy all the time. You're never going to have solar energy. Right, Rob. I'm glad we're neighbors too, because we need to get the oil pumping. This is the one relationship that should never, ever run out between the United States and Canada is our oil. Yes, let's ban cow farts. We can't have cow farts anymore in the world. It's too many carbon emissions. Let's get rid of them. You know what? Let's have Bill Gates build a headless cow that he made in a petri dish. That's what we need. Oh, wait, he already did that. I'm not eating that shit. Nah. I want real cows. Real cows, real deer, real animals. That's what I want. And cloud. Right, we're covering it all today. Cloud seeding. Yeah. That's what they'll do. They'll put us in it when they don't like us. They'll just cloud seed everything, and then we'll have the whole country will be covered in clouds, so no one's getting any solar power. See, we done figured out all their little tricks of how they're gonna keep us suppressed under their socialist dictatorship under Kamala Harris. Yeah, sun doesn't shine much in the winter. That's right. I mean, it does, but not as much in the summer. So what are you going to do then? You're going to have to have natural gas. You're going to have those things. Are you Rob, are you saying World Health Organization? I hope you're not, because that's a bad word in my house. We don't talk about those murderers. They're always covering up like their doctors' sexual assault cases over in Africa all the time too. That's a dirty, dirty organization, the World Health Organization. And if you like to read about it some more, I did write a whole chapter about them in my book, The Swiss Effect, because they do. The World Health Organization's in Switzerland. See that? I should do commercials. I say this every week. I should just be a commercial. I just come up with commercials all day. But that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. That's like 5 pages of notes that I did over the weekend for the show today. So I'm gonna I'm going to be on tomorrow doing my Site Crusader show for those of you who watch that. Shauna, you're not going vegan. Get out of here. Can't just eat grits the rest of your life. Shauna made me grits this for lunch. It was supposed to be for breakfast, but it ended up being by lunch by the time she got them done, which it was nice. It was nice. Very nice. But yeah, that's the first time I've ever had Southern grits, because I was sitting at work one day. I was like, I've never had Southern grits. And so Shauna said, well, I'll make you some Southern grits. So she did. I tried them for the first time today. And then she left me the mess to clean up. Just kidding. She cleaned up some of it. You see, okay. I mean, that's fair, kind of, Rob. We kind of got to give Shauna some points on that, because we don't really, like, you got to actually go to a butcher shop to get real meat around here. I don't know how it is up in Canada, but down here, if you don't have real meat, if you don't go to the butcher shop, you're getting whatever with all kinds of craziness in it. I think I seen like they were sticking magnets up to the chicken from Walmart, and they were sticking. It's crazy. It's crazy the amount of trash that they put in our food. Hopefully Robert Kennedy fixes that and we can get back to being healthy again. I'm really banking on that. If he doesn't do his job, history could repeat itself. Just kidding. But he needs to get it done. I think he will, because he likes fitness and he likes eating healthy. So I think he's going to get it done. I have faith in him. But that's our show for the day. Join me tomorrow on the Site Crusader. Don't know what I'm going to talk about yet. And all right, I'll be available, Rob. And everybody be safe out there. Know where your kids are at. Watch out for crazy people. Tomorrow's the election certification, so everybody be careful from crazy liberals. I'm out. Peace.